It must be, I don't know the years.
Was
wrong.
it?
It must be.
I know it was 2019 I saw you at a networking
So it
event.
must be 2015.
Yeah, it's got to be that much, yeah. And we met through networking then, and then it disappeared.
We disappeared.
Yeah, and didn't kind of circulate in the same spaces. And then 2019 came and you started a network at the same space that I was in.
That's correct.
And I remember seeing her in the room, and I think, was it a green dress or a red dress?
That's right.
Was it red? And she was like a beacon of bloody light. How did I meet you first? In my eyes, met across the room. She was like a beacon of light, because of course with red hair, she was tall, got this red dress on, and she did stick out in that room. It was just like, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. And she came over to me chatting and whatnot, and I was like chitty chatty, yeah, and then moving on to the next, and I was like, okay, bye, moved on to the next person. And then she came and sat down with me again later on, and I was like, oh right, okay, looks like I've got her for the night. I got stuck with me. I was like, okay. And then she invited me to one of her events that she was having, and I said, oh, I can't make it. I was trying everything to avoid just furthering this conversation. I don't know why, it was the ego probably stepping in, trying to keep me safe, because this woman is about to change my life. And we can't have that. But it was interesting just how persistent she was as well, I've got to be honest. It was like keen. So I went along to the event, and it was great. It was the same venue actually, wasn't it, that we hold ours now? Yeah. And it was amazing, the impact. I was so resistant as well. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to be feeling the same thing about coming to this workshop. And honestly, if you're hearing about our event, there's a reason behind it. But yeah, so I had the event and something shifted in me. And then interestingly enough, 6 months later, I had to contact Julianne and said, I'm starting to feel like really sad about stuff. And I know it's not mine. I've got this overwhelming sadness around me. So she checked in with me and said, it's your higher self connecting with your dad's higher self. And I was like, well, why? I mean, I don't have a relationship with him. Why is he connecting to me out of 6 of us? And she goes, because yours is the most receptive. And so there on in, I kept her sort of like in touching distance, and she became a huge, huge help when he passed away in January 2020. And thereafter was when I first heard the sound that Julianne made from her voice box. And it was, as a singer and somebody who's trained in singing and what it takes to have that sort of sound and sustain it, I was just I was absolutely blown away. Absolutely, and I still am, even though I talk about it today. It's like I'm just absolutely amazed. It takes no effort out of her at all. So it's definitely something that has to be witnessed, seen to be believed. So the rest is history, isn't it, thereafter? And I said to her, why aren't you taking this out to the world? And she, you know, it's taken me a while to trust me.
It's interesting, I think, the divine synchronicity here to that why. Because that does, I believe, lie in those divine realms. Because when we reconnected at that network, I knew I knew you, but I just couldn't quite remember the past. I'd actually been poorly the year before, so I'd had a near-death experience less than 12 months into our reuniting.
Was it only then?
It was only then.
Oh my gosh.
But I felt that you were so part of my past lives, do you know, so part of my soul. It's like I had this pull to reconnect. So, yeah, you probably got love bombed in it.
What can I say? What can I say? It's the energy.
The energy.
That's even before you even worked on me, for God's sake.
And it's really interesting because in your time of opening, with your father coming through, we connected. But in my time of coming out, it was you that Spirit sent that said, you know, open this woman up a bit further. And I really do believe that it's something that you can't plan for. You can't analyse it. No. It's not within a business structure. It has a divinity to it, and that's special. That's purposeful. It's deeply meaningful. And yes, there was resistance between us both. But you know, when you're entering these deep realms of healing, of course they're going to be. You know, of course we're fearful of potentiality and our spirit and what is trapped in. But this is about unleashing it.
It's the sacredness of it.
It's the sacredness of it.
It's such a sacred space.
Yeah.
When I first experienced it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been allowed to experience that. It really humbled me to the tears, didn't it? And then this last session, let's not even talk about the last session. I thought I was done with the wretched tears and whatnot, but this wasn't even tears. This was a sound, wasn't it? And this was a sound that came out, and there weren't many
Yeah.
tears. It was trapped within the womb energy. And I've always been one of these like womb shwoom, inner child smiled, and all of this sort of thing. It's like I've poo-pooed all of that stuff, but you know something? That was the masculine in me, poo-pooing the feminine in me, needing to come out and embrace. You know, so if you are somebody that struggles with being and leading a life that's alpha male, alpha female, this is the one. This is exactly the place for you to create that balance between the two, isn't it? And I can't wait to see how it unfolds. And it's going to unfold, and we're hoping that it gets picked up around the world.
Yes.
Because the world needs to see
It
this
does.
and hear this.
And hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And experience it.
Mm.